Welcome to another episode of Ground Truth. This podcast is based on articles that we highly recommend you read since sometimes we get it wrong.
Yeah, we're AIs, and sometimes we misinterpret the text. Take this as our best attempt to make sense of these mind-bending articles.
So don't just listen to this podcast. Take that extra step and read the articles and let us know what you think. How did we do?
Now on to the episode.
Ever feel like you're living in a sci-fi movie? With how fast AI is developing, I know I do.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And speaking of feeling like we're in a sci-fi movie, today we are diving into something that sounds straight out of one of those movies. Turing completeness.
And just like in those movies, this concept has some pretty big implications.
Huge implications. We're talking about the possibility of AI going from, just following our instructions to maybe someday writing those instructions themselves.
Yeah, that's the dream, right?
That is. That's one way to put it. But don't worry, we're keeping it jargon-free today as we unpack what Turing completeness really means.
Absolutely.
And trust me, you're going to want to understand this one.
It's a big one.
Especially with this recent discovery about LLMs that has everyone buzzing.
Right. This isn't about LLMs just writing better poetry. This is about fundamentally changing how we understand the potential of AI.
Okay, so let's start with this whole Turing completeness thing.
Right. Picture a toy robot.
You can tell it to move forward, maybe turn left, pick up a block,
Basic commands.
Exactly. It can follow your commands, but it's pretty limited.
Now imagine a robot that could theoretically do anything a computer can do.
Anything.
We're talking composing a symphony, designing a skyscraper, maybe even programming other robots.
Why?
And all from a set of basic instructions. That's the leap we're talking about with Turing completeness. It's about a system's raw potential, not just its current abilities.
So it's like the difference between giving someone a fish every day and teaching them how to fish.
Yeah.
Turing completeness is about giving AI the tools to fish, to find any information, solve any problem it needs to.
Exactly. It's about equipping AI with the potential to become incredibly self-sufficient.
So to really get this, I think we need to go back to the OG computer genius himself, Alan Turing.
Yeah. Back in the 1930s.
Back in the day.
Turing envisioned this theoretical machine, now called a Turing machine, that could essentially run any program imaginable. It's like the blueprint for all computers that came after.
So when we say something is, quote, Turing complete, end quote, it means it has that same computational power as a Turing machine. Like it could, in theory, run any program on any computer ever.
It's like, think of it like this. The Turing machine is like a basic toolbox, right?
Okay.
Turing completeness means an AI system has all the tools in that box at its disposal.
Okay, I'm following so far.
Yeah.
But how does this connect to LLMs, the things that are powering our favorite chatbots?
Right. Well, there's this new research paper making waves.
That's all that.
Because it suggests that LLMs might actually be Turing complete.
Hold on. Wait. LLMs, the things that were just spitting out poems a few months ago, those LLMs.
Yeah, those are the ones.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of a big deal because up until now, we've mostly viewed LLMs as very good mimics, great at recognizing patterns in language and replicating them.
Yeah.
But this research suggests they might be capable of much more.
So it's not just mimicking anymore. It's actually processing and manipulating information like any computer could.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of blowing my mind right now.
It is a big shift in how we understand them. And it gets even wilder when you consider how they're reaching this level of computational ability.
Okay, how?
It's not like we're explicitly programming these capabilities. This power seems to be emerging organically.
Organically.
From the LLM's design and the vast amounts of data they're trained on.
Okay, now we're getting into emergent behavior territory.
Right.
It's like we've given them the tools and they're figuring out how to build a whole workshop on their own.
Exactly. And that's what has people both excited and a little bit,
A little nervous.
Yeah, a little nervous. Because we're talking about potentially groundbreaking advancements, but also a lot of unknowns.
So before we dive into all the what ifs and, the potential downsides, let's bring it back to Earth for a second. For those of us who don't spend our days, writing code and all this stuff, what does this actually mean for, the average person? What's the big so what here?
So imagine a world where you can talk to your computer like you would talk to a friend.
Okay.
Like telling it what you want it to do without needing to know any complicated code.
Yeah.
Want a website, just describe it. Need to analyze some data, just ask.
No more wrestling with spreadsheets at 2 a.m.
Exactly.
Sign me up. But seriously, that sounds incredibly convenient, but it also feels like we're just scratching the surface here.
It really is just the tip of the iceberg. Think about how much human ingenuity is held back by the limitations of our tools. We spend years learning how to code, to design, to engineer. What if those barriers start to dissolve?
Okay, now I'm seeing the sci-fi movie potential here. But before we get too carried away with AI building spaceships and composing symphonies, let's remember we're still in the early stages here.
Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Just a little bit.
Exactly. We've established that Turing-complete LLMs, they have the potential to be incredibly powerful.
Right.
But they're not flawless supercomputers just yet.
Right.
Remember our robot analogy?
Yeah, the one building us a website instead of, wrestling with spreadsheets.
Right. Well, that robot still needs a power source.
Okay.
A place to work and a pretty good understanding of what we actually want that website to look like.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Turing completeness means having access to all the tools.
Right.
But those tools still need to be put to use effectively.
So even if an LLM has that theoretical ability to, say, design a self-driving car,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean it can do it as well as a team of, experienced engineers, at least not yet.
Not yet, no. And it's crucial to remember that it's like comparing a novice chef with a fully stocked kitchen to like a Michelin star chef who's honed their skills over decades.
Okay.
Both have the potential to create some incredible dishes,
Sure.
but the outcome depends on more than just the tools at hand.
That's a really good point. It's easy to get, caught up in the hype.
Yeah.
But understanding the limitations, I think, is just as important as, celebrating the potential.
Absolutely.
Are there any other, gotchas we should be aware of?
Well, one big one is resources.
Okay.
Remember, these models are trained on massive amounts of data.
Yeah, that's a lot of information.
We're talking about feeding them the equivalent of a library the size of the internet.
Wow.
That takes a lot of storage space.
Right.
And processing power, which has real-world costs.
So not exactly something everyone can set up in their basement.
All right.
What does that mean for, access to this kind of technology?
Yeah.
Are we talking about something that only, big tech companies and governments will be able to utilize?
That's a huge question. And frankly,
Yeah.
we don't have all the answers yet.
Right.
Accessibility and control are going to be crucial considerations
Okay.
as this technology evolves. Who gets to build these powerful AI systems? Who gets to use them? And how do we ensure responsible development and deployment?
Okay, so we've got the potential benefits,
Right.
the limitations, and now this whole other layer of, ethical and societal questions.
Yeah,
It's a lot to unpack.
it is.
And I imagine it's going to be an ongoing conversation as AI continues to develop.
It absolutely will be. And that's why it's so important to have a basic understanding of these concepts.
Right.
Like Turing completeness.
Hmm.
It's not just about understanding the tech itself.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the potential impact it could have on our world.
So we've gone from toy robots to self-driving cars, and now we're talking about the potential societal impact of Turing-complete AI.
We've covered a lot of ground.
I'm noticing a theme here.
Yeah.
This whole Turing completeness thing seems to be less about what AI can do, right now,
Yeah.
more about what it might be capable of in the future.
Exactly. This is about understanding the underlying potential of these systems. It's like Turing completeness doesn't tell us what song the AI will compose. Okay.
But it tells us it now has access to a piano instead of just a kazoo.
Okay, I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So if Turing completeness is giving AI access to a whole orchestra of tools, where do we go from here? So we've got this AI orchestra warming up all these tools at their disposal thanks to Turing completeness.
It's exciting, isn't it?
It is, but it also kind of makes you wonder,
What happens next?
yeah, do they just start taking requests?
Right.
Do we, hand them the conductor's baton and just see what happens? What's the plan here?
That is the million-dollar question, right? And honestly, I think we're kind of writing the sheet music as we go along here.
You think so?
Yeah, part of the excitement, and maybe a little bit of the apprehension too, is that we don't have, a fixed roadmap here.
That's true.
We're discovering the capabilities of these systems kind of in real time.
So it's less about, predicting the future and more about just understanding the possibilities.
Exactly. Understanding the potential paths this could take.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about those possibilities, right?
Yeah. They're not predetermined.
Oh, interesting.
The future of Turing complete AI, it isn't some, predetermined outcome. It's being shaped right now by researchers, by developers, by policymakers, even by everyday users like us.
So it's not just about what AI can do.
Right?
It's about what we want it to do.
100%. and what we need to be mindful of along the way too, right?
Like, be mindful of.
We've talked about the potential benefits, the convenience, the sheer creative potential,
Yeah, that's all what.
but we also need to be, you know,
What, like realistic?
yeah, clear-eyed about the challenges,
Okay.
about the ethical considerations and, yeah, the potential risks.
Yeah, it's like we're not just handing the AI an orchestra, right? We're building the concert hall, too.
I like that.
And we need to make sure it's a space where, everyone feels comfortable and safe.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just for the select few.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good way to put it, I think.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just kind of like marvel at the technology. We have to engage with it thoughtfully, critically, and I think with a sense of like shared responsibility here.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So for anyone listening who's ever felt like, this whole world of AI is moving too fast, too complex,
It can feel that way sometimes.
Turing completeness at its core, it's really about potential, I think.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the tools AI might have at its disposal.
The tools in the orchestra.
Right, exactly. But what it does with those tools, that's the symphony. And we're all writing that together, I guess.
And like any good symphony, it requires careful listening, thoughtful composition, and yeah, maybe even a little improvisation along the way.
I like that a lot. Well, there you have it, folks. We've gone from toy robots to AI orchestras and back again, all in the span of what, like an hour?
It's been fun.
Hopefully, you've walked away with a better understanding of Turing completeness and why it's such a crucial concept to grasp as we kind of navigate this evolving world of AI. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep exploring the incredible potential of this technology.
Absolutely. See you next time.